All right, it's April 14th, day before tax day. And tonight it's show number 143 with Abe Robinson coming back to us. Abe, how are you doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Awesome. We had you back on a show, I think it was October of 2013, show number 94. I wrote it down so I remember.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while, yes. So we're glad to have you back tonight. But before we get to you, I wanted to say thank you to, let's see if I can say this right. We practiced it in the pre-show. We'll try it again. Mirjan Kubrick.
Mirjan
Kubrick. He did two logos for us. One's a black one like you see here. It's a black background with the JPEG to RAW logo there. And another one that's a light one with that back there. I didn't ask him to do it. He did this just as a favor to the show. And I want to thank him a lot for doing this. He's got another version he's given me that we might use for the Facebook page, because apparently the one I had, according to Abe, is 80s hairband style. And apparently this is not the 80s anymore.
Nope.
We're just trying to live through them.
Yeah. And I need to update my logo. So thank you. How you say it again, Tim?
Mirjan Kubrick.
Thank you, Mirjan Kubrick. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for, he's made a couple of revisions for me. So thank you for having patience with us and doing that too. Really appreciate it. Much better than what I had done, and looks much more modern, not so 80s stylish.
Nothing wrong with the 80s. I was a huge 80s fan.
80s is awesome. The best music ever.
I
don't know about that, but
I'm a 90s.
Okay.
I like 90s music too.
All right. Well, we'll just disagree.
Well, just refer to your shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, my shirt, if you can't read it, it says, I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining why I'm right. Anyway, speaking of why I'm right, at least what I think of, is Friday night, before we get to Abe, I just want to cover one more thing, and then we'll get right into Abe, so bear with me for a second. Friday night, my son and I go into Walmart, going to pick up some groceries. My wife was out of town, so Abe, this is the story whenever I go to the shop with my boys. One's at college, one's still in high school. Go to shop with them while the wife's away, is that we go to Walmart or whatever grocery store we're going to, and it's not what do we need, it's what do we want. So we just go up and down each aisle. Oh, you want 3 bags of chips? Get 3 bags of chips. We can have ice cream for breakfast, whatever you want. So I just decided before we get started on this journey.
Did you just incriminate yourself on?
My wife knows when she got home and saw the stuff that we had left.
All the bags open and everything.
Yeah, and nothing good in the refrigerator. But before we got started on this journey, I needed to take a potty break. So I went, go by the restroom and have to go by the photo center. And what do I see in the photo center? But my photo. Now, I don't know how well you can see it as we're streaming, but it's this frame that is it's right next to the word Walmart if you're looking at this tiny little thing. And I don't have it up behind me, Abes. You can't see it. Here, I'll set it up there. So this that little frame that is a picture I took of Swanee Town Center, our city town center park. The photo I took, I entered it into a photo contest with the city of Swanee, which I had signed a photo release for them to use in their, whatever they use to promote the city. And it required them, any time they use it, to give me photo credit. And I posted this in our JPEG to RAW forum, so you can go out there and see it in the exact text from the photo release. So I see this there. It doesn't have my name on it. Doesn't have anything. It's just there in the photo center. In my opinion, now that Walmart has it and is displaying it in their photo center, they're using it in a commercial purpose. They're using it to say, look at the kind of prints you can make in our photo center, and therefore they should have licensed that through me. And since they didn't,
absolutely,
and never talked to me, I think that they're in violation of my copyright.
They definitely are.
Yeah. And I have contacted the friend of the show, Rachel Brinke, and a local law firm to see what my next step should be.
Becoming a millionaire.
I don't think that.
Yeah, but Walmart, with as big of a corporation as it is, you can look at the fact that if it's in this Walmart, is that the only local Walmart in, say, 30 miles?
There's one other one, and I can stop by and see it. Well, 30 miles, probably more than one, but I can stop by. My feeling is it's probably just this one, but the other one that's fairly local. I'll stop by that one and see.
Yeah, because I mean, if they're using it for monetary gain, then well, you get a cut of that.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you that, Abe. You said monetary gain. Now they could just be having it there. And,
doesn't matter. It's on display to draw
right.
attention. Therefore, it's an advertisement for them.
Right. And I got into a debate with someone about this. I don't have to prove they've made a profit off this.
No.
They've used it and they're in violation of my copyright. It's not a matter of with some things when you have a disagreement, it's what's been my harm or what's been the the profit made by the other party. But in this case, isn't it more of it's either a flat out copyright infringement or what would I have charged them for the use that they're doing?
Well, usage rates vary depending on location, but it's your image, so you can put any price tag you want on it. So if they're like, well, how much do you want for it? Well, my usage rates is $30,000 a day. You have that right as the creator of that image.
Yeah. See, you're going to be a millionaire after all.
I don't think so.
I mean, obviously, you go after for $20 million, a judge will look at you like you're insane, but you could push it.
Yeah. You know what I think is, here's my theory on what's happened. And this actually could be a bigger problem for the city, my city, is they have probably taken all the winners of the photo contest over the years. Because this one, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that I entered this. Taken those photos, printed them, and then probably handed them out to local businesses. Now,
so Walmart may not know where this came from in the first place?
Well, if Walmart can prove that, then Walmart's not at fault, but the city is.
Exactly. And the city could have done this God knows how many times, and they don't have the right to transfer their license.
No, not according to their contract.
Right. Anyway,
a couple of things to point out, though. The picture looks pretty good, blown up, very nice.
It is a good
picture.
I mean,
from what I could see from this. But what do they have that picture next to the passport sign for?
So that is like the back of the photo center, and there's also a couple other signs there that are talking about. I don't know. I can't read it now, but it is the back of the photo center. And
this is photo calendars and I guess college prints.
Oh, you can read it?
Well, I have it open in the forum. I'm actually in the forum, Mike. Get that?
Awesome. Yeah. So, and there's this back of this place where there's a bunch of junk. So, whatever. Anyway, I forwarded this on to a local law firm, and we'll see what they say. And as as this thing goes down its life, I'll post about it and say what has happened.
Yeah,
and
definitely keep everybody informed.
Yeah, and then I think maybe at the end of all this, maybe I can get Rachel to come back on and we can talk about did I do anything wrong with the photo release I signed? Because now it's made me very leery about doing this contest in the future, which I really liked doing the city contest and entering that every year. But I'm not sure I'm going to do that anymore. But I do think at some point I need to sit down with those guys because I like the city I'm in. Sit down with those guys and say, you can't be doing this. You can't be handing these things out.
Right.
Was it an amateur, a pro, or undisclosed contest?
It was undisclosed. Anybody could have joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that I used to live in a small town, and they had it was called the Grape Jamboree every year, and it was like this little festival for their wine stuff. And they would have a photo contest. Well, nobody, if considered a pro, could enter because they wanted rights to everything, and the pros wouldn't sign it. So they just changed it to strictly amateurs. So that's why I was curious as to what it was.
Okay. All right, Abe, is there any way you can lower your camera a little bit? We're not getting enough of you. That's much better. As low as you feel comfortable with. So thanks, Abe, for the feedback on that, and everybody keep in touch keep track of what I'm going to be posting. Anyway, so let's get up to date with you. What have you been doing since we had you on the show back in October of 2013?
I've been all over the place, actually. After we talked, the usual same stuff that I was doing, but then I ended up directing 2 music videos, ended up doing a whole bunch of promo work, and then ended up having a couple of heart attacks along the way.
Oh.
So ended up in the hospital in late June, early July, and spent the last, 8 months, 9 months recovering from that. So the beginning of 2014, I was producing work on a daily, and then it just came to a screeching halt. And I think I've only done maybe 60 shoots since then, since July. So it definitely slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you were putting in, 90-plus hour weeks before that, right?
yeah, went from 90 plus to 0.
Wow.
To not allowed to work at all. So
Yeah. That's tough, going from 90 to 0.
definitely drove my wife nuts.
Now, how are you today?
I actually have surgery again on the 20th. They're going back in to see if they can't. I had a small day job, and I was on my way there in the morning in July, and I started to not feel well. Ended up pulling off the road, drove myself to the nearest hospital. It was one that is not very good. So I ended up there for a little over a week. They did a surgery to fix me, and they just said, "Oh, okay, you're done. Go home." And there was no aftercare, no nothing. Here, take all these pills, shut up, and go home. So it took me a while to get into Cleveland Clinic, which is the best hospital around here. And once I did get approved and got in there, the doctors there were like, "Something's not right still. You should be better by now." So they continued to research, and I don't fit in an MRI machine, so they had to run some other tests. So that's part of the surgery I have on next week. So they're still trying to figure out what's wrong, but at least I'm getting some sort of plan from Cleveland Clinic, whereas literally the very first words out of my doctor's mouth when I was at the other hospital that'll remain nameless, they were like, "Here, we're just going to put you in this vest." And I replied with a simple, "Does that come with a Coke logo on the back of it?" Because it was like a defibrillator vest I'd have to wear all the time. But there's no my doctor was just mean, constantly. It was a very bad experience, and then ended up going to a nice hospital that's trying to take care of me at least.
Yeah. No, it's if you don't have the right doctor, if you don't have the right treatment, it makes all the difference in the world to have the right doctor.
Well, I mean, as an independent artist and a small business owner, I don't have insurance. I don't have, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to go into a hospital for an emergency situation, but then prolonged care afterwards, they're just like, "We don't care, go home. The government will take care of you for this 3 days you were here or this week you were here, but you need to go home and get away from us." And they treat you like garbage. I mean, I'm a big tattooed, scary guy, and I didn't have insurance, so they treated me like I was scum. And Cleveland Clinic has treated me a lot better.
Good. Yeah. Well, hopefully, your next procedure is going to find what's the problem and get you fixed.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So you have to go on a reduced schedule right now? Is that what you're saying?
I had to bring in some assistance because I just the task of walking from my desk here over to my lights and setting up a shoot it's getting better now. I can do it on my own a little bit, but it was to the point where, just that 20-foot walk over to the other side of the studio, I'd be out of breath. My heart racing, arms turning red from blood pressure, skyrocketed, even on all the ton of meds I'm on. So it got to the point where I had to bring in extra help. My wife's been great. She's been helping me, and then I brought in 2 other people to help. So, it gives me a chance to teach a little bit more too. So,
well, the heart is you got to take care of that. You don't want to push it too hard before you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm doing bigger and bigger things as I go along, trying to take it. I'm a stubborn ass, so I try.
I know, and us dudes sometimes try to be a little tough. Like I guess you driving to the hospital while you're having a heart attack.
I worked through the first three.
Oh my gosh, you worked through the first three. So I'm sure your wife is giving you some feedback on you can't always be the tough guy through it. You know, I don't know if you saw the thing about the cancer I had in the back of my head, where I let that go way too long. I can share the link with you after the show. It's a before shot and an after shot. But I was let it go way too long, and it wasn't until it got too big that my wife saw it after I cut the grass. She goes, "What's that?" I said, "Leave me alone." And about at that point, it was way too big, and I ended up with almost a 7-hour surgery to remove it. And at one point, things looked even worse than that. But
and yours was also a rare condition that they had never, or
there have been 100. There have been 100 known cases of it before.
Yeah, that's rare.
Blue nevi melanoma. So it was not good. But I'm doing much better now. So we hope good recovery for you too, and take it easy. Don't push yourself too much where you're working through heart attacks.
Yeah, well, I was working on 2 different music videos, directing both of them, and the first one, I just, I'd never directed a music video before, so I was like, I feel like crap, but I'm just going to keep going. And then 2 months later, I was still feeling like crap, but I had another one. I had to do it. I had to get it done, and these are national music videos, with over 1 million YouTube views, so.
So I'm going to give you some. I'm going to say some, and I'm not going to give you advice. I don't know you well enough to give you advice. I'm just going to say something. You can do what you can do with it. But it's something I told my son when he went off to college. I said, Christopher, there's going to be people that you see that party all the time, having nothing but fun, and you're wondering how are they making it through school. Most of those people you won't see when you're a sophomore. So what you do is you can have fun. You can have a good mix of fun for 4 years, or you can have a lot of fun for 1 year. So I guess let me put that back into another phrase. We want you making videos for the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm getting at. All right. So, you mentioned how that's impacting you going forward. You're not able to work as much. But one of the things I want to talk about there, because a lot of people who listen to the show are either doing this photography business as a part-time or full-time. And when you're your own boss, and if you don't show up for work, there's no paycheck. There's nothing like that. You don't have to get too detailed and too personal with this, but can you shed any advice maybe to somebody on difficulties that causes when you're a sole proprietor?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm still recovering and I'm still behind. I mean, you got to think of it. If you've got, studio bills, just all the bills that are involved with your business, plus all the bills that are involved with your home and where you live. And, if you have, child support or any outside debt, all that stuff doesn't go away just because you're sick. So if, I've always been a paycheck to paycheck kind of guy. And as an artist, it's even harder because it's feast or famine. It's one day I make a ton of money. The next month I don't make nothing. See, it's about I'm trying to figure out how to save, and I'm still digging myself out, and it's a long road ahead. So, eventually, yes, now that I have been in a situation where it's completely fallen apart, it's about pre-planning the future and trying to figure out a way to make as much money as humanly possible. That not like I did anything like that before. I was constantly trying to make more money, but you got to push yourself harder, but in a different direction, because obviously going one way wasn't working. So now you got to kind of change things up. It's just about staying positive. I mean, when you go from working 90 hours a week to, nothing, you go from being able to do anything you wanted to having to ask for help to bend over to pick up your own shoes. It's rough and it's depressing, and it doesn't just play hard on everyone around you because they see what you're going through. It's hard on you, and it's hard to figure out how to move every day towards something better. Eventually, you just got to keep the drive to be in business for yourself. You just have to apply it to life when you end up in a situation like that and just keep moving forward. Otherwise, you'll just get stuck.
Yeah, you know, hopefully it's that passion you have for your craft that's going to keep you going through that. But yeah, I mean, you know, the best you can. It's hard. It's easy to say save money. It's much harder to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all know that it's hard to save for that rainy day when you've got needs today.
Yes.
All right, well, let's move into something that's not quite so depressing.
Yeah.
And that's your photos. You gave me some, I picked some, and you know, as always, I can't stream in their full quality. You need to go to Abe's website and see, you know, them there in a much better quality. But you'll get a sense for them here. And your website is blind7photography.com, right?
Yep.
And we'll have the link in the show notes, and we'll also, I think I've put it across the bottom a minute ago. But you know, as I'm looking through these photos, and the style that I think you give them is dark glamour, right? Is the type of style. And you know, there's a lot of them that have, you know, blood and that kind of stuff. I don't think any of them I saw had guts, but nor just blood and stuff like that. But
I haven't done any guts in a while.
And the photo we just had up, it'll come back around in a second. I'll wait till it comes back around and I'll make a comment on it. Anyway, as I'm looking through these photos, I got another sense too that I'm sure you know, but maybe Tim didn't see right away. At least I didn't see the first show we had with you. And that is this actual sensual side of these photos. And I don't have any of the ones with the breast. So when you go to Abe's site, they're not necessarily all work friendly, and I can't show them here. So I'm not talking about the ones with just the breast, which obviously have a sensual side to them. I'm talking about, you know, the ones that we're streaming tonight, that there's even in some of the gore of these, the dark side of these, there's still a sensual feeling to these images, at least to me.
No, I mean, sex motivates and it sells. It's one of the basis of human nature. So it's got to be in everything. I just choose to accentuate it.
Yeah. And no, you do it well. So, and you know, I know you challenged me to come up with a question that you haven't been asked before, and Nikki was no help. Nikki was no help.
Nikki was no help.
Group too.
So, well, I have a question that you've never been asked before.
All right.
What is Mike's favorite movie?
Oh,
you've never been asked that, so there you go.
That's a real cop out.
yeah.
I know that's a cheap way to do it.
I'm gonna go with a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
No.
Now that is a great movie.
It is a great movie, but that wasn't a real question. That was just me. I couldn't come up with one that I thought you'd never been asked before, so I just did that.
Well, I get interviews quite often, and I just did a couple for DeviantArt.com, and everybody asks the same 5 or 10 questions. So when you said, "Is there anything that you want to discuss?" I was like, "No, come up with something that is so off the wall, like just has nothing, you know, either has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but is about me, or just something that fans get bored after reading the same thing 20 times." And I always feel bad because I just basically just kind of copy and paste it from the last one. I mean,
none of them had asked you what's Mike's favorite movie.
So what is it?
Aliens.
Okay.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, this is the second. It's the second one in the series.
Yeah, the second.
Yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on that, but
I can't handle those movies, so you could skip right past it.
3 and 4 were horrible. 2 was awesome. Anyway, all right. So the sex motivates, and so let me ask you: how do you find the people? Do you have any problem finding people who are willing to do this? Because, you know, in some of these scenes, you know, obviously the women are have no clothes on or no tops on or something like that. Is there any problem with finding, you know, what do you call it? Models? Yeah.
I mean, it really depends on what the project is. Yeah, some things are a little bit more like fine-tuned. If it's a commercial project, yeah, because I have a tendency to work with kind of models that are not normally models. I actually work with a lot of first timers or like just starting out models. So if it's a commercial job that they need me to do something, I have a list of people that like my work, hang out with me, they're friends or whatever, or they're just models that have volunteered, and I keep them on the back burner for a while, just in case I come up with an idea for them, or, you know, a lot of these that you're scrolling through are hired jobs. So
Okay.
they're just people contacting me for modeling portfolios or just want something, you know, to show off their friends, and they hire us, and I come up with something weird for them to play in.
You said they're wanting it for modeling portfolios. What type of modeling jobs are they getting with using this as part of their portfolio?
Well, it's not actually for the way people hire me. It's not. They're not getting commercial jobs off of my work. They're getting more jobs from other photographers. It's showing their diversity, and it does show commercial modeling agencies that they're not afraid to get covered in blood, painted, covered in wetness, whatever. And it shows their acting ability as well, because, you know, for some of these, there's one that's in here, I know for sure. She's done a lot of like beauty stuff, and I was like, nope, we're going to paint you. We're going to cover you in this. And she just enjoyed it because it was something that it's actually the one that it's on your screen right now.
This one here, let me see if I can stop on it.
Yep.
Yeah, so... okay, I thought I stopped on that. Maybe not. Well,
Still stop back there.
yeah, stop back there, but that apparently I'm using two things here. Right. Well, we'll come back to that in a second.
Yeah.
All right, I think I found it. I can change this. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. That was actually a commercial client came to me and wanted. They were running it's for a haunted house. It's for the Fair Experience Haunted House, and they wanted something to that they could use for advertising for a promotional thing they did for Valentine's Day, and they wanted, you know, typical haunted house ideas come into play, and most people are like, oh well, you know, can we do, you know, a big scary guy wielding an axe or something along those lines. And I actually wanted to take it a little bit different route, and I convinced them that, you know, a fallen Cupid that's kind of demonic would be better. And they let me run with it, and we shot that. And, you know, it's titled The Fall of Amor, and I did it with, I edited it two different ways, one for my personal project and then one for the commercial project. They don't look alike, but it's usable for both out of the same set.
Yeah, now I got this one pulled up on your website, the Fear Experience Haunted House with that image. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that when I had looked at it earlier on the website. Very good. So imagine if she's a normal, if she has a portfolio of normal portraits and that kind of stuff, and then you have this one. Oh, she does.
She's heavily tattooed.
Oh, okay,
and,
okay.
But the modeling she does is normally very like beauty tattoo work, like you would see in like magazines, tattoo magazines. But it's very beauty-esque normally. Actually, there was an image on the last show of her, same girl, where she was covered in blood in the eyes. I don't know if you remember that one. We talked about that on the last show. So same girl, just completely different setup.
You know, right after the last show, you know, again, me being from the 80s, although I think this is after the 80s, I was watching the movie again. I've watched this more than once, the movie called Doom. You ever seen that movie?
I haven't seen that movie for years.
So it has the Rock in it and some other I can't remember the other main star there. But there was a scene in that movie that when I saw it, I said, oh, that would be a great shot for Abe. And it is at the end of the movie, there's the one of the main stars, not the Rock, because, you know, I'm not going to tell you what happened to him, but it didn't end well for him. He's in an elevator. He's in black, you know, military gear. He's covered in blood because of the fight he just went through, and he's holding, I think it's his sister actually, holding the sister who is clean and like pure white that she's wearing. And that contrast of him in black covered in blood and her clean on the elevator when it opens, that looks awesome. That's a perfect shot.
That's right up my style.
Yeah, I meant to tell you, and I looked for like a photo of that online where I can copy it and send you the link, and could not find that exact shot. So I'll keep looking if I ever find it. But I did want to ask you about this photo, and this is the unsaid fate.
Unsaid fate.
Is the guy in the background that looks like Juice from I have looked at it over and over again and said that looks like Juice from Sons of Anarchy.
It's not Juice. His name's Nino, but yes, he actually picks up women.
Pretending to be that?
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know what his face looks like when he's not in that.
I think he's got a girlfriend now.
Okay.
But every time I see him, I'm always like, dude, you got to let me put tattoos on the side of your head and put that picture of you on a plate. I pick on him all the time about it.
Because when in that shot, I swear he looks so much like Juice. It's just incredible.
He's got the same mannerisms as Juice. It's quite uncanny.
But may not always be good. Hopefully he turns out better than what Juice turned out.
Hey, I haven't seen the last season yet.
It works out great for him.
Oh, I'm sure. Given the lead up.
I won't give any more away. But man, you got to watch the last season.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to come on Netflix.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's not out on Netflix now. Okay, so speaking of the sensuality in these images, and coming from, and I'll speak for myself, Tim, from a guy who's not filmed a lot of people unclothed, male or female. How did I imagine now it's just nothing to you, but making that first, when you first got into it, was that uncomfortable? How did you get past that uncomfortable feeling and directing people to move in certain ways or do whatever, you get certain poses, whatever you wanted them to do when they're unclothed?
I mean, I've always been one of those, I was an unruly kid, and I've been around it my whole life. And I would say that once I started shooting people, it was actually, I think, one of my very first photo shoots ever that was actually a photo shoot, not just me hanging out with somebody snapping photos, was a nude model. And it just, once you get over the fact that they're naked, once you just say, well, they're naked, who cares?
Right.
That, it all just goes out the window. And as a guy, as a male photographer, and you're shooting a female nude, you have to obviously follow different rules of respect.
Right.
Don't touch the model unless she says it's okay, but it's preferred that you have an assistant that's female to take care of it. I would never touch a client I didn't know, and even the ones that I do know, I still say I have to move this. I'm going to do this if it's okay with you. Asking permission is always a good thing. And then some models are super comfortable, have absolutely no problem doing cartwheels naked in your house. It doesn't matter. Others, on the other hand, it's a sensitive subject for them. So you just kind of you have to be able to read people and be able to judge how comfortable they are. But the less you make a big deal out of it,
exactly,
the more comfortable they're.
That's where I was going to go is especially as a male photographer, if you feel uncomfortable, that feeling is going to come across to especially the female models, I would think. Yeah. That they would feel uncomfortable.
But I treat men that I photograph the exact same way I treat women. They're in a vulnerable state. So you have to be on your toes. You have to be able to go, okay, do you feel comfortable moving this way? Or, I can direct them, but at the same time you have to say it and direct with an asking tone. And it works. But everybody's different. Some models I can be like, all right, I want you to do this, 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 and I want you to, light yourself on fire. And they're like, oh, okay. But other ones are very particular. Some don't like their chest, some don't like their stomach, some don't, everybody has that one thing about them that they don't like. So you have to, that's what getting to know your clients helps, because you talk to them before anything happens and you actually sit down and have a conversation with them and treat them as a human being. They open up to you and they might say, I don't like my legs. Well, So then you pose them to not show their legs off as much. Or since I do a lot of creative stuff, I can concept around their legs completely and get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We can find a way to cover up the spots that they don't like. That way, when they see the final image, that's not the first thing they look for.
Right.
Right. No, that's great advice, is knowing, because you're right. A lot of people have parts of their body they don't like, or maybe more than one part, in my case.
I'm a big guy too. I understand. Not everybody wants everybody to be. I mean, if they're in front of the camera, all eyes are on them. So you gotta do everything you can to not be a jerk.
Right. And so you say all eyes are on them. In a typical shoot, if there is a typical shoot, how many people are there? I know you have a makeup artist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My wife is an SFX makeup artist. She goes by Juliet Blind. Okay. Average shoot is normally a general headshot shoot could be just me. Okay. A full production, like the shoot, the Grim Reaper, it'll pop up here.
I'll come back to that one.
The Grim Reaper was it was a videographer, an assistant, the makeup artist, the model, and me. So 5. So anywhere between, I mean, obviously some shoots require more people. I just did one with 21 people involved. Oh. But that was a designer, 4 or 5 models, 2 a makeup artist, 2 makeup artists, a hairstylist. There was a ton of people involved in that. But something like as simple as the band shoot from the Unsaid Fate, that was just me and them.
Okay. Now, speaking of this Grim Reaper one, and you have some others too that are outside. Mm-hmm. So you're out of your studio. You're bringing your equipment with you. Are you in an isolated area? Do you have any concerns of people coming up on you, or getting in the shot, or anything like that?
Most people, like this Grim Reaper one, we shot it in November, late November. There's snow on the ground. It's pretty cold. We are 30 feet from the path in woods at a park. The majority, I travel light, and I 95% of the time only shoot with one light. So this was shot with just a boom arm, a 43-inch octobox, a SB800 or a B800 Alien B, and a generator to run the fog machine. So I try to minimalize the amount of things that I take with me as much as humanly possible. That way people don't have to lug the stuff, and B, it kind of keeps us together more on these outside shoots. Trying to think if there's anything else that's outside. Oh, the big dress. The big dress one. That was a behind-the-scenes photographer, Gina Appleby. She's another photographer that came through. The model is Twig, and she's actually the designer. She designed that whole dress. There was 2 assistants, well, 3 technically, because Aaron Fisher, another photographer, he was my human light stand. He just stood there with a giant light stand up in the air.
So, how some of these are very intricate and look like they require a lot of makeup and work on that side. How long do some of these, what's your longest? So I should ask you that. What's your longest shoot?
Longest shoot for a single person, 8 hours.
Okay.
Probably 4 hours of makeup, 2 hours of goofing off.
Well, you gotta have fun.
Most of the time, the general rule is the longer there is in makeup, the faster the shoot goes. And I don't know why it is that way, but models will spend 4 hours in a makeup chair and then 20 minutes in front of my camera. But jeez. That's also, we just did a shoot, it was 2 weeks ago, where a girl, she just turned 18, her friends, she was a big fan, her friends bought her a gift certificate for one free creative look from me for her birthday, and makeup took a couple hours, the set took 4 or 5 hours to build, and then her shoot was done and over with in about 12 minutes. Okay. So...
But a scene like the Grim Reaper,
The Grim Reaper, the costume was actually built by my wife, the SFX makeup artist. She made that out of scrapped cloth we got from the local fabric store. She made that from top to bottom, all custom for the kid that wanted to wear it. He wanted to do something Halloween-y, so I was like, well, let's do Grim Reaper. We borrowed the scythe from a friend who collects old instruments of mass destruction, and we just she whipped that up, and then we had another buddy running the fog machine.
Oh, there's a fog machine?
Yeah, you can't really tell much for the fog from that shot, but there's some shots from that whole set that there's just fog everywhere.
I love the shot. I like the color treatment to it, and there's the feel of that shot also. There's another one that I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of a lot of these, but there's another one there. Let me see if I can find it. This one with the hands.
That's actually a promo shot for the band 17 Dead.
I like that one. That's a good. I like that look.
I actually just recently filmed their music video, and we have another one in the works.
Okay. All right, and guys out in chat, if you have any questions, make sure you feed them through. So I know you're getting more into video. You mentioned something about video too. What is that where you're seeing more of your work coming? Is video? And you, before you answer that, I've watched a lot of your behind the scenes videos that you had up, and love watching those behind the scenes videos that you have with that on. I think on your YouTube page or on your site.
Yeah, I have them on my site, on my YouTube, and there's some on Vimeo as well. Yeah. The behind the scenes, it's something I've always liked, and I find myself on Vimeo or on YouTube just typing in behind the scenes photo shoot, and I can learn better by watching a good behind the scenes video. I can learn from it. I get a general idea of how things are going on their sets. Mm-hmm. There's a photographer I absolutely adore, and I watch his videos a lot, and he does amazing behind-the-scenes videos, and I learned quite a bit, not necessarily about his shooting style, because I did, but I learned how he interacts with people and how just a simple act of having donuts on a group shoot can change everybody's attitude and the atmosphere. So that's something we started doing now. Every time we have a group shoot, we make sure that there's some sort of breakfasty, some sweets and, maybe some fruit or something. We just did a shoot, like I said, with 21 people, and we, brought donuts and bagels and coffee and all that stuff. Just because we knew we were going to be there all day, and people wake up, they grab their coffee at the gas station, but what happens an hour after it's already gone and they're doing work? They don't have anything to snack on.
Yeah. So. Well, Nikki has a question for you. I don't know if you've never been asked this before, but I'll go ahead and ask it. And then I have one after that too. Is Nikki asks, if you only had to shoot one subject for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Insects.
And I think we have one photo in the group that you sent me that is not dark glamour, right?
Yep, that's the macro.
Yeah, and you have a flower shot behind you. You like shooting flowers and that kind of stuff, right?
Macro of anything is still my favorite art form. It's still what I enjoy shooting the most. The shot that you have there is actually, I got bored the other day and I was at the dollar store and I found...
Which one was it?
It's the leaf one. I found this stuff. It's just a bag of peat moss in the dollar store craft section. So I started dropping water on top of it, and then there's some sticks laying around outside, so I put those on top, and I've got my desk piled up right in front of me, right here, sitting there relaxing, smoking cigarettes, just chilling, and I just shot. And that's still my favorite thing to do. I actually much prefer to just throw on some headphones and go for a walk in the park. But it was windy and raining that day. So I was like, well, I'm just going to make the best of it. So I started shooting. I had picked up some water dropper things from Amazon. It was like 50 of them for $1. So I bought the pack, and that's what I was putting water droplets all over the place, just trying different stuff. And it's just about having fun with it.
Yeah. And do you not shoot more of that because there's not as much money in that? Hard to
I
make.
don't shoot more. I don't shoot more of that because I run out of things locally. We don't have a heavy insect population, and bugs are kind of my favorite thing to shoot. And I mean, you'd think I'd be an entomologist or whatever by now, but I love tiny insects and like little flowers and little things like that. But there's not a whole lot of variety around, and like I said, I'm still digging myself out of a hole, so I can't afford to go to the local flower shop and drop $30 on a bouquet of flowers to just photograph for 5 minutes.
So if we have you back and do a macro show on insects, that's fine, except no spiders. Do not like spiders.
I actually don't have. I mean, if you go through my website and go through the, I've just titled it "Still Life" because I have other shots in there, like some of my abandonment structure stuff and just some random lives, or I think it was a recording studio shot in there and a couple other little things. But I didn't have enough to build a macro section, so I just made it still life. There's actually only a couple of insects in there because we really don't have a wide variety in Cleveland to shoot. Most of the shots that are in that category are shot at the Botanical Gardens or the zoo.
Yeah.
So, it's our nature is very green here, and you can only shoot grass so many times. And I've got catalogs of grass pictures. But every time I'm out, I end up taking more, whether I edit them or not. It's just because I might be trying to look at it from a different perspective that day. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't.
Okay. Got two questions coming in, and then I want to come back to mine. Rob asks, is the gritty surrealistic. Having trouble with my words tonight. Surrealistic look to your photos in camera or in post?
Depending on the image, the only image that you have rotating that I believe it's added in Photoshop is the Dr. Dreadful one.
Is that the one where he's standing? He's with the axe?
No, that's the 3 people. It's 3 people in front of the church. It says Dr. Dreadful right on it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's the only one that has any Photoshop that I've seen.
Okay.
Everything else, even that's just one layer laid over down to opacity 50% with a divide layer, I believe. But yeah, that's the only one that has any added grit. The rest of them, actually, I don't know if it's just the YouTube. Most of them are very clean that you've been showing. They don't really have a whole lot of grit to them.
And do you do most of your post-processing in Photoshop or Lightroom?
I'm a Lightroom user. Since I've had a lot of downtime, I've been playing around with Photoshop, but I wouldn't say I'm a Photoshop artist at all. I've just been playing around with a little bit here and there. I like to teach myself new things all the time, and I know Lightroom inside and out, so it was just a way for me to keep myself busy re-editing old photos. I actually started a series called Re-Edit, and it's just basically photos from 2014 back all the way to 2006 that I'm just pulling from old hard drives going, I'm going to re-edit that one and just play with it. Okay. So.
All right, and Aaron asks, inspiration. What are some of the things that inspire you that are totally unexpected?
For being such a dark and gloomy guy, flowers, pretty things would be, I guess, on the unexpected. But generally, everything. Anything from music to movies to a book. Sometimes it's just the way a plastic bag is crumbled up that'll, I actually have a shot on my Instagram of a pillow that it was just laying on my bed, and it's the pillow looked like the face of the Luck Dragon from Neverending Story. So it's little things like that. It's just about looking at your surroundings as if everything is art, because honestly, it is. Whether it was created by an actual artist, an architect, or a painter, or it was created by nature, it's all art. So why not be able to transpose that into visual imagery?
Yeah, and use it for, creativity. Use it for your, your ideas. All right, Mitchell asks, what is your favorite prop you have ever used in one of your photos?
Favorite prop? Wow. Singular prop, I would say probably piercings.
Piercings.
Yeah. I've done some, I used to be a piercer, and I've done some corset piercings that have produced some really cool images. That or fire, because I've been shooting a lot of fire lately.
I don't think I had that as a question, Tim, but I know in one of the videos I was watching, I think there was a lady sitting on a stool, maybe higher up, and I can't remember exactly what she was doing, and maybe I can find it on your website and put a link here in the show notes. But behind her was somebody, some fire being created. You know what I'm talking about
that's
there?
That's the Torn Between behind the scenes video.
Okay.
The model, Renee, she came to us and she hired me to do a shoot. She wanted to do something creative. She's always been a pinup model, so she wanted to do something off the wall. So after talking to her for like 2 hours on the console, she wanted to do something that was like she was being torn between heaven and hell. So me not wanting to use Photoshop or to use it as little as humanly possible, my wife is a fire breather. So she does a bunch of different kind of fire tricks, but she's really good at breathing fire. So we designed that little pole that she's sitting on. It's like a levitation platform. I got the idea off of a YouTube video. And she's sitting up there. We have another assistant throwing feathers at her while Julia is blowing fire underneath her to kind of create that whole heavenly light from above with the feathers and the fire from hell below her.
Yeah, I'm looking through your website right now. Is there a single photo of it anywhere? So I can show people. But my general question with that was, the behind the scenes video looked like, wow, that looks dangerous. That looks like the fire is close, but I know it's probably more the angle that we're seeing.
It did touch the basin, but the fuel that we use it goes out very, very quickly.
Okay.
So even if you were to stick your hand directly in that flame, yeah, you'd get a little hot, but it's not going to just totally destroy your skin. It's not going to get third-degree burns off of it. Prolonged usage of it will cause a little irritation, and burn, but it's not too bad.
And I can't show the page I'm streaming through right now because I think I'd lose my rating. I'm enjoying it though. We'll just say that.
I don't have one of that up on my site.
Okay, but I'll have you have the video there.
It is on my Facebook. It's on the Blind 7 Facebook.
Okay, and you had the video, the behind the scenes video, so I'll put a link to that. All right. So here's my question. Is you look at these images and some people may be quick to judge and look at this and say, I don't know, judge whichever way they're going to do it. What would you say? Where's my question? What is the biggest misconception people have about things like dark glamour?
I would say the biggest misconception is that I'm some deviant pervert, and I'm not. Art is subjective, yes, but at the same time, it's also an extension of the artist. So, me producing artwork that is both dark and beautiful, it's how I see the world. It's a blend of my two favorite things. It's people look at me, I'm a big, scary, tattooed guy, and, me in a nutshell is I'm a high school dropout, I'm a starving artist, but I work my ass off, and I'm not afraid to take a risk, and I'm only here for a certain amount of time to create this stuff. I might as well have fun with it and do everything I possibly can with it, and not worry about whether or not some art critic's going to think I'm a weirdo or my stuff doesn't carry any clout because I'm not producing, magazine quality images. I'm never going to get a Vogue cover unless I change my style, which I'm not going to. Even I just literally, one of the projects I've been working on is my goal for the year was to get into a Vogue or a W type magazine. And that's what that 21 person shoot was I shot a fashion editorial for a designer. We did 8 dresses out of his 10 dress line with 5 models from all over the place, and spent the snowiest day in Cleveland driving all the way out to the middle of nowhere and shooting in this, beautiful mansion. And I still edited those photos for submission for the magazines like that in my style. They're still dark. They're still edgy. And because I can't give up who I am just to appease other people.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people, you get feedback from people, no matter what type of photography you're doing. You get feedback from people on, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I think there's value in some of that critique in that you can improve it, but you also have to be careful that you don't lose you in the process of when you're listening to these other people that are telling you to do certain things. Because, everybody has their own style. They're going to push you toward what they think, but ultimately you have to be you and do what you think.
Oh, well, I mean, if you look at my portfolio, like if you were, as soon as this video is over with, watch the one from last year, from October of 2013, my work has completely changed. And that's just evolvement of art. That's me evolving as an artist. Yes, some of it has become a little cleaner, a little bit more tweaked, but that comes with experience. I've been shooting for a long time now, and every year it just keeps getting, yes, it gets a little bit more towards that commercial side, but you put me next to somebody who shoots commercial all the time, they're going to be like, no, there's nothing the same. We can shoot the same subject. It's just, I'm staying true to myself and not worrying about, if I get people who tell me, oh, well, you shouldn't use as much blues, or you shouldn't use as much of this, or you shouldn't use as much of this. If this image was less saturated, it would look better. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not your artwork. It's mine.
Right.
So.
And when I said you, I didn't mean you.
No, I know.
You is everybody. Yeah. Do you think shows like maybe The Walking Dead or something like that have got maybe more potential clients for you, more people who are saying, hey, I'd like to have some of these type of shots? Something like The Walking Dead is, I don't know how that transfers into dark glamour, but huge following.
Falls into the horror category. Yeah. I have gotten, a lot more zombie inquiries, and so has my wife, who does amazing zombie work. Yeah. But literally one shoot, 4 zombies, 1 hour. They look like Walking Dead zombies. They were awesome. But nevertheless, it has brought us a lot more inquiries. I wouldn't say that it has brought us a ton of money, but it definitely, zombies got popular. Well, now everybody wants a zombie photo shoot. They want to do zombie walks. They want to do this. When Buffy was really big, I got a lot of vampire inquiries. And Twilight, oh my God. Everybody wanted.
That's not a real vampire movie.
No, vampires don't sparkle. But yeah, I mean, trends change in popular society, in popularity. So people seek out creatives to kind of mimic that style. And if you want a Twilight photo shoot, you're going to have to hire a glamour photographer because, that dude had on more makeup than most of the models in my shoots. So,
well, I was wondering if, obviously fans of Walking Dead, I'm a big fan of Walking Dead, is, there's this whole zombie phenomenon that's going on. And actually, heck, I was Night of the Walking Dead thinking of the 80s. Back in the 80s, I loved it back then. But thinking that, okay, everybody, now that it's so popular, everybody may be wanting zombie photos, and hey, maybe there's enough of them that are wanting something a little different than the zombie thing. Everybody's got that. I want some Abe Robinson.
Okay. I mean, it would be. Sorry. Hold on a second. I completely repeat that. It echoed. Back over you.
No, I was just saying that there may be more people who are wanting to do something different than just the zombie thing. The zombie thing got him into that horror genre, but now they're saying, hey, I want an Abe Robinson because I don't want to look like my other 20 friends.
I get that, and those are the ones I appreciate. I'd much rather when a client comes to me with a general idea, and then I can just dig deep and, even if it's just a model looking for a modeling portfolio, I'm always like, all right, well, what kind of music do you listen to? What kind of movies do you watch? Because getting to know them on that level allows me to pull from their life and create something for them.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sure I have not hit on a question that nobody's asked you before, but hey, I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't know what questions everybody asked you before. You should have made me a list. But what did you have any looking back on all your shoots and video and photo? What would you say has been your favorite of all of them? And secondly, what's the wildest story that you could share in a PG setting, PG-13 setting?
Wildest story. I don't really know if I have anything that's PG-13.
That right there is a story.
Yeah. As far as favorite shoots go, they vary depending on what my mood is. So I would say it sounds cheesy because it is, but at the same time, my favorite shoot's the one I'm going to do next because everything, I'm hypercritical of myself, hardcore. I shoot something, I love it for 5 minutes, and then I hate it the next day. I'm constantly trying to do something better, and I look back on images and I'm like, oh man, that's awesome for about 30 seconds. And then I'm like, I start picking it apart. And that's just me personally. So I would say that whatever kind of crazy idea I come up with next is, that'll be the next one. I do have a story though that is PG-13.
Okay.
I got yelled at by a lawyer for a photo shoot.
Okay.
And a couple years back we did. It's actually part of the re-edit series now, but it was called The Last Stand. Speaking of zombies, it was. I got this idea. I wanted to do this big zombie shoot in downtown Cleveland. So I called the city. I got a permit to close a street down in the Flats, which is kind of like the warehouse district of downtown. It's not the warehouse district. I actually live in that, but it's close enough. The Flats are dead, so there was nothing down there. I thought it would be no big deal. The city thought it would be no big deal. The city was like, yeah, sure, $20, close the road down. So
$20, that's all it cost?
Just need a site permit.
Wow, that's awesome.
The funny thing is, it's $20 for 15 days.
Wow. You can close the street down for 15 days?
Well, that's what it was. I'm sure they've raised it now that they've got all these movies coming in and out, like the Avengers and Captain America and all that stuff. But it was the permit at the time was $20. So I paid the $20, and then I think there's like a $5 service fee. And we went down there. We had a couple of makeup artists, like 25, 30 people showed up. We set up a tent on the sidewalk. We had these two crews. One of them's a zombie response crew. They had their cars all decked out, and the other one's an Umbrella Corporation thing. And they
Umbrella Corporation? From the Resident Evil?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they decked their cars out with Umbrella logos and stuff. And so they parked their cars sideways in the middle of the road. We've got another big van in the back. We've got all these people in zombie makeup, and everybody's piled in the streets. And all of a sudden, one of the lawyers, apparently in one of the buildings that we had blocked off in front of, he was not a very happy camper because his clients couldn't get to him with all these crazies running around. So he starts screaming. He starts screaming at me, and I'm like, permit, So he calls the city, and the city was like, he's got a permit. So he's like, I want to see somebody now. He's screaming and yelling, throwing a hissy fit. So this little white car comes rolling down the street, this little city car. The dude gets out of this car, and I'm a big guy. I'm like 6 foot tall, 400 pounds. This dude's bigger than I am. He gets out of this little egg-shaped car. This is City of Cleveland on the side of it, and he stands up, and he's standing there next to this lawyer, and the lawyer's screaming at him, and he's like, look, he's got a permit. He paid for the permit. And he points to right behind the guy, and he's like, do you have a sign permit for that sign you have on the street there? And the guy's like, what? He wrote him a ticket for it right then and there. He's like, if you got a problem with it, here, pay this fine. So and they left us alone the rest of the day after that. But,
was this day one?
Yeah, we only did it for the one day.
So you could have told the lawyer we were only going to be here for a day. Now we're going to be here for 15.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a great story. See, that's a good PG-13 story. That's a good PG.
There was some lines in that I had to.
I'm sure that there was some extra bleeps in there.
Yeah. Yeah, 3-minute long straight. You know.
Wow, we are already past the hour. This has gone by way too fast. We need to make this more of a regular thing. Have you come back and talk about this stuff, and maybe someday I'll come up with something new that no one's asked you.
Yeah, I mean that's a goal. That's a goal.
I'll need Nikki's help. So thank you for coming out. Guys, we keep this to about an hour, and we're already up to the hour. We're past the hour now. And I got a couple of closing things. I know somebody had to leave early. I don't remember who it was, or somebody might arrive late. But this show will be available hopefully this weekend if my computer holds up. This weekend on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, of course. The live version will be available on YouTube right away. But the audio version will be on Stitcher, Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podomatic. And the video version is on iTunes, YouTube, and TiVo. So you can get it from all those locations. It should be out by this weekend. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, we have a regular Facebook group, facebook.com/group/JPEG2RAW. We have a boudoir group that's not very active, but it's, I guess the link is facebook.com/group/boudoir, or JPEG2RAW/boudoir. Then we have in our Facebook group and on our webpage, we have a monthly photo contest or photo challenge. For this month, April, it is a photo contest. For last month, it is a photo challenge. We'll be announcing a winner fairly soon. And then at the end of the year, we have a photo contest in December where it is your best image of the year. We give away prizes along with that one, the one in December. And those are made possible by people using our link, our Amazon.com or our Topaz Labs link. And that is jpeg2raw.com/Amazon and jpeg2raw.com/Topaz Labs. Use those links whenever you're going to go and purchase something from those sites before you go there. Doesn't have to be photo related. It could be anything. And we get a small credit. And Tim and I don't use any of the money for us. It all goes back to giving away to the listeners and fans. If you getting this audio, which a lot of you do, you want to come and check out the show notes and go to Abe's site and look at the photos because you've missed them in the video portion of this. Even if you got the video portion, you want to go to Abe's site and look at the photos because they'll be in higher quality. Then we still have this to give away, Tim. This is the Adobe Creative Cloud photography plan, which is Lightroom and Photoshop, a 1 year, 12-month prepaid membership. Where we're giving away. We're going to probably have to give it away in May. I'd said when we get to 200 people signed up in our newsletter or end of May, whichever comes first. And at this rate, it looks like it's going to be the end of May. Although we've had good sign up so far. And it's really easy to sign up. All you got to do is go to our website or our Facebook page. And on our website, in the upper right-hand corner, or on the right-hand side, I should say, on almost every page, except for the live page, because I need the whole room, is a link that says subscribe to our newsletter. You enter your email, hit the subscribe button, and I think it takes you to one more step. Fairly easy. And guess what? You're not going to get flooded with mail because I don't even have a newsletter yet. So that just enters you into our newsletter. When someday when we have one, you'll get it. And before then, you will just you'll be entered into the contest. And we'd love to have you also join us out in our forums, which is jpeg2raw.com/forums. Mainly me posting out there, but we have posted out there the whole thing about the Walmart thing, and I'll send a link to Abe later about my surgery that's on the bottom of this thing if you want to go see that. Some gory pictures there. That's it. We're off for the next 2 weeks, so no show for the next 2 weeks, and we'll be back in May. So until May, keep it raw. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.